If I could do my dream project here, is basically do what the formula that San Francisco's doing with their large murals, and also taking alleys in impoverished neighborhoods and making murals in each neighborhood, and having the artists basically like what we did with Solano Alley, but like extend it to the point where there's art in every hood, you know, and every block, and people are familiar with seeing it, even though it could be in a Latin community, it could be in an Asian community, it could be African community. So you have different designs and different inspiration for artists to have a pedestal to look at that, you know, while you're walking to school, while you're looking at stuff, you know. I think the biggest challenge facing Oakland is the growth that it's experiencing. Artists, it's a big, there's a big art scene happening here that I kind of don't, you know, it's just like, when I first started doing the murals, it was easier to get paid. Now there's a lot more artists per capita in certain areas. The challenges are commissions, wall space, and also a lot of people are hiring artists that are coming here from different countries, different places. So the whole situation with that is it's kind of undercutting the artists that have been here and doing art here in Oakland. I personally feel like coming back and doing a lot of the murals for the community. I never really asked for like a big budget or anything. It was just more like people who wanted to donate time and experience and come up with the design. I invited them to come along with the whole time that I've been painting the murals here in Oakland.
What I like being best about being an artist in Oakland is that I actually get to be part of an arts community that's growing, that has some history and some grounding, but also is really growing. It's becoming visible. In some ways, I think we're moving into kind of a golden age of Oakland art, especially relative to people of color and relative to non-traditional media. So it's just a really fortunate and exciting moment to be in this place. If I could do my dream art project in Oakland, I think I'd want to do it. I think I'd want to do it in the Laurel District, since I live on the edge of the Laurel District. I live in Maxwell Park, and I think I'd want to do a mural of just a city block of people when all you can see is kind of their faces, and there are people walking back and forth. I'd want to kind of depict a wall-sized portrait of the diversity of Oakland, walking back and forth. I love doing pictures of like 30 people, 20 people, and the people themselves become the landscape. And so that would be my dream. You know, I think some of the biggest challenges facing Oakland are the problems that are facing every metropolitan area in the country. And that is the growth and change. You know, Oakland, and it's an odd kind of growth, because it's not necessarily the population is getting bigger, but the income that's coming into the city is getting bigger, from individuals, but also from corporations. And then it's just a different demographic that's coming in, and change is hard for cities. In some ways, I think wonderful things happened. For my generation, when we were in school in the 80s, 90s, we really internalized the lessons of that time that said diversity is good, difference is good. You want to be around people who are different than you are. And many of us came from very homogenous suburbs. And so now the generation of people who are in their 30s and their 20s, they want to live in cities. They want to live around diversity. And so they're bringing a kind of level of wealth into cities that, and that's why we're seeing things like displacement in places like Oakland. There are other factors, like people buying who have just huge amounts of money who invest in whole buildings. New York is experiencing that. But what I see when I go to Nashville, Tennessee, when I go to cities like Cleveland, is young people who are graduating from college, they want to move to the cities. And they're bringing a bit more wealth than certain populations, but not enough to buy into middle and upper class neighborhoods. And so they're starting to displace people who are living in more affordable neighborhoods. That, I think, is Oakland's biggest problem.